Weazel News.
Want to follow in the footsteps of your favorite celebrity, alive or dead?
Los Santos is number one. The city has just won the beloved title of most polluted city in the world.
The Hookah Palace Hotel is offering new packages to vacationers. The Jazz Torrent package comes with a keg, full bar, and piles of blow. Just like the famous night that he shat himself in the elevator and went running out into the street naked. The Tommy the Nightmare Smith package gives you exclusive use of the pool, your own DJ, to make you feel like a superstar before drowning in your own vomit, just like the legendary rock guitarist did.
Pollution news.
Residents of Los Santos are smiling through the smog. The city recently won back the coveted title of most polluted city in the world. The party and litter spilled out into the streets of Vespucci and Del Perro.
Ha ha! We won! You hear that, Beijing? USA! USA! USA!
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
Is a pro football team finally coming to Los Santos?
It's open house at the Epsilon Center. Coffee, cookies, kiflam, and payment plans.
Milton McElroy tells World he is happy and creative.
Pro football in Los Santos. It sounds like a pipe dream, where you inhale deep and the world disappears around you. But sources say it's coming close to reality if the state will agree to enough taxpayer incentives. We'll stay on this story.
Cult news.
It's called a truly American religion. Obsessed with celebrities, preying on weakness and offering many payment plans. The Epsilon program's Chris Fromage recently defended the religion.
The question is, do the rich, famous, and good-looking become Epsilonists, or do we Epsilonists become rich, famous, and good-looking? Well, it doesn't really matter because we have the answers to it all. Available in easy-to-understand payment plans. Who better to teach young people about self-worship, swinging, giving up their identity, and freeing themselves from conscience than celebrities?
In movie news, actor Milton McElroy dismissed reports he is unhappy on the set of Meltdown, the troubled picture being shot on green screen over at Richard's Majestic's lot. He said that rumors he was unhappy were gross exaggerations and swore that audiences were going to love the picture.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
High-speed gun battle on a Los Santos freeway.
Are the Chinese coming after our illegal drugs now, too?
Epsilonism still growing and still popular with in-crowd.
The Transit Authority announces another project residents will ignore.
A 60s art house classic returns to cinemas.
Shock and terror on the Del Perro freeway earlier as two groups of men engaged in a high-speed gun battle over a luxury yacht. The Weazel News team was there just minutes too late, as usual, and spoke to this man.
I thought it was a joke or some prank until a bullet came through the window and tore through my artery. Now, if you don't mind, I need to go to the hospital.
It appears that China now wants to outsource our crime, too. At a press conference today, Globopol shared intel that high-profile members from a number of Chinese criminal organizations have entered the U.S. illegally in recent months with a view to infiltrate the North American drug market.
Despite recent controversies, including a court case and accusations of being a cult, more and more celebrities are choosing to become Epsilonists. The Epsilon program, the Los Santos-based religion that has been derided, attacked, ridiculed, and accused of everything from charlatanism and fraud to slavery and prostitution, continues to grow. At a promotional event at the Epsilon Center in Vinewood, a spokesman told us,
This is an American religion and an American success story. Unlike most American businesses, we haven't outsourced, and we are expanding. We should be praised, not scorned.
Transit news.
The Los Santos Transit Authority announced funding for a prospective new streetcar project to the tune of $16 billion. Rails will run on many popular streets, shutting them down for years during construction, and promise to move traffic up to 3 miles per hour, much faster than current gridlocked conditions.
Capolavoro, the incomprehensible 60s classic that typified the European art house cinema craze, is showing again in local theaters as part of a retrospective of indecipherable and pretentious movies.
Well, I was thoroughly confused, but I felt better than other people towards the end.
The movie is showing again in local theaters for a limited time.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Breaking news.
Bloody shootout at a meth lab in Sandy Shores.
Facade hit with a data mining scandal.
Wealthy residents are protesting the planned extension of the metro.
The erection pill wars rage on.
In hillbilly news, more violence at the Alamo Sea, where local drug dealers clashed with Chicano gang the Aztecas at the Ace Liquor Store in Sandy Shores, which is an alleged front for a methamphetamine manufacturing operation. Our reporter spoke to this man at the scene.
It was terrifying. I was really scared that it would affect the street price of crystal. I love smoking crystal.
Could Facade's monopoly of the global operating system market be under threat? Jackson Skinner, head of product development at Facade, is at the center of a data mining scandal today, following accusations the software company sold sensitive customer information to various governments and illegal organizations around the world.
The plan to extend the Los Santos Metro to other areas of the city has some wealthy residents crying foul. Carl Kelly is on the scene.
I'm here at City Hall, talking to an unhappy rich person.
It's a safety issue. They want to tunnel under things, like schools, underground. We're not opposing it because of some race thing. That's absurd.
But it is a race thing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, okay.
The Transit Authority plans to move forward with the extension anyway, despite opposition from conservatives and oil companies who say it's a waste of taxpayer dollars.
Penis pill news.
Has Mollis been stiffed by the competition? A controversial new drug is trying to loosen Beta Pharmaceuticals' tight hand on the erectile dysfunction market. Bilkington Research's Priapol claims to be stronger, cheaper, and better for clubbing than Mollis, despite some reports of alarming side effects.
Weazel News. Confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
Not a break-in. We were just practicing, say, the IAA.
Globopol helping to crack down on West Coast drug trafficking.
More on the tragic storm in Liberty City that has the nation caring again.
My UFO crashed, claims hiker.
Eyewitnesses thought they'd seen the crime of the century. Instead, it turned out they were watching a training exercise at the IAA headquarters building in Los Santos. It seemed like a daring raid in which a suspect was snatched by a man dangling from a helicopter. But no, officials were quick to counter these rumors.
Globopol has gone on a media blitz in the last 24 hours to promote their tough new crackdown on U.S. drug trafficking in the extra hope that more people will discover who the hell they are. In a recent poll asking U.S. citizens what Globopol does, only 2 out of 10 people correctly identified the International Police Force, with the other responses ranging from antidepressant medication to cartoon characters.
Liberty City storm news.
The storm that ravaged Liberty City has some corporate citizens stepping up to the plate, including the gas and electric monopolies.
Getting America back on its feet is important to us. Since we are a state-approved monopoly with zero interest in investing in infrastructure, we want to get the grid up and running so we can be printing money again.
Globe Oil and other petroleum companies have started a fund for victims called Warming Hearts, not Warming Oceans, which fights the myth of climate change and helps citizens replace cars that were flooded in the storm.
Jonah Henderson's hiking and meth holiday did not quite go according to plan. He was abducted by aliens, but that's not all. Having been abducted by aliens, he survived a terrifying UFO crash as the flying saucer exploded, leaving debris all over the state. Believe that, and you'll reason we, or at least you, are not alone, as many like-minded people have flocked to the Grand Sonora Desert and are hunting for UFO parts. Yet again, proof the great American imagination is alive and well. Tomorrow, we have an exclusive interview with the Tooth Fairy.
Weazel News. Confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
Fire in the FIB building linked to data theft. And begging for money is looked down upon unless you do it on the internet. Crowdsourcing, the new fancy term for being a bum. Several floors of the FIB headquarters in downtown Los Santos were gutted by a fire yesterday. Investigators believe the blaze was started by incendiary devices hidden at 2 points in the building. The FIB are linking the arson to their network being compromised after it was discovered that their emergency backup server is missing. In a press conference, Senior Agent Steve Haynes has vowed to find the criminals behind the theft. He will be heading up the investigation.
We interrupt for this breaking news.
Officials announced a deal has been made to bring the Liberty City Wrath to Los Santos, pending final legal approval. City official Mark Richards announced the news today.
This East Coast versus West Coast battle continues, and today we won another victory. We're taking Liberty City's football team. It took $1 billion in taxpayer giveaways, but football is as American as gentrification and fried food.
Sit on the sidewalk and beg for money, and you're a leech on society. Do it on crowdsourcing website Beseecher, and you're an innovator. One local man is raising funds on the site to start what everyone considers a terrible business. But Scott Yothers is determined to guilt trip everyone he knows into handing over money.
I have a lot of people who've donated $10, $15, even $100 to my terrible idea.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
Devin Weston profits from Congress's decision to allow Merriweather Security Consulting to expand domestic operations.
Gang crime is on the rise. Experts blame lack of movies.
The funding war between security agencies rages in the Capitol.
It's official. Epsilonism is not a cult.
Credits roll on another historic Vinewood movie studio.
The boss act in wild swings again as stocks drop.
Devin Weston, Los Santos's legendary billionaire investing guru, was celebrating along with Don Percival, CEO of a controversial private security business yesterday. Weston announced his fund had taken an 11% stake in Merriweather. Percival, meanwhile, was happy after defeating a government plan to outlaw the expansion of Merriweather's domestic operations. Expect more privatized high-security firms to begin domestic operations as the war on terror continues to rage.
Gang crime is on the rise, and politicians are blaming lack of media coverage and sensationalism. The recent fall in the popularity of gang movies, focusing on both African American and Hispanic street gangs, has led to a rise in gang violence, experts warned yesterday, as people no longer had movies to warn them of the danger of making bad choices.
Movie mogul Solomon Richards and his struggling Richards Majestic Studios will be reeling today from the news that another historic movie studio, Lowenstein Pictures, has closed and will be turned into luxury condos. Will there soon be nothing left in America but reality TV and property that nobody can afford?
The funding war between IAA and FIB intensifies after Congress promised to slash spending and both agencies recommend it's the other one.
Cult News.
Chris Formage and his fellow Epsilonists were celebrating yesterday after the Supreme Court of the state of San Andreas overturned the Revenue Service's claim that the Epsilon program was a cult and a pyramid scheme and not a real religion, and therefore should have its charitable status repealed. Mr. Formage, who is believed to have amassed a fortune of several $1 billion, wept on the steps of the courthouse.
I'm Carl Kelly. Markets were volatile as the Bossack Index went into free fall and then got hit hard before a late rally had everyone really confused. If you want to understand more, pick up my new book, Mounting Bulls and Riding Bears.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Breaking news.
Jay Norris has head blown off on TV.
The Lost running amok in the desert.
Merriweather enters the Postal Service.
The stock market destroys some dreams again.
Jay Norris, Life Invader CEO and controversial champion of openness and data mining, had his data mined all over the stage when his head was blown off while giving a keynote speech to shareholders at the Vinewood Bowl. Mr. Norris was demonstrating the new Life Invader telephone when a bomb was triggered, killing him instantly. Police are unsure of the motives. Life Invader shares are down on the news.
Notorious outlaw motorcycle gang, The Lost, have taken up residence in the Alamo Sea and are now terrorizing the impoverished desert community. Steve Patoria is on the scene.
For years, the Lost Motorcycle Gang were involved in a non-stop war with the Angels of Death, raging across several states. Then came 2008's bloody civil war that seemed to wipe them out. Now it appears they are back, and worse than ever. The gang is believed to be heavily involved in illegal arms dealing and the manufacture and distribution of crystal methamphetamine.
Sound effect.
The world's most exclusive courier service unveiled its U.S. operations yesterday. Merriweather announced their famed courier service is coming to these shores. The service transports art, artifacts, and other precious perishables for museums, collectors, and individuals trying to avoid taxes.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
An anti-toilet cleaner lawmaker caught smoking the drug.
Why do girls cry after sex? We have more.
Outspoken San Andreas State Senator Morty Alexander, who has been lobbying for a ban on the sale of the synthetic drug known as toilet cleaner, has been caught on film smoking it himself. Even though the clip clearly shows him semi-naked, howling, and dry-humping two scared young women, the man maintains that the substance he was smoking was a harmless herbal tobacco.
I was not smoking toilet cleaner with those girls. Who in their right mind does drugs with hot women?
Sex news.
It happens to many men. You finish a great round of making love and the woman begins to cry. Local man Jeff Unruh says he's had enough.
Why do women have to be so confusing? God, I wish I were gay.
Scientists say that sex often releases a flood of emotion in women that results in tears after sex. Others say they're crying because you are a totally inadequate lover in every way.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. This is Weazel News.
Container ship sinks in the port of South Los Santos.
FIB claim money laundering rife in small banks across the country. Nonsense, says mayor.
A court says a former movie star must remain on the Star Tours bus route.
A growing scourge is hitting the city, and residents aren't happy. Are bicyclists taking over? Witnesses describe a scene of chaos in Los Santos Harbor earlier, as several explosions could be seen on board a container ship, which subsequently sunk into the harbor. Reports suggest nothing was stolen and foul play is not suspected in the incident.
Blaine County was one of 3 regions nationwide singled out as a potential target for money laundering, as drug dealers focus on small regional banks with weaker systems of control. Roy Buckley, mayor of Paleto Bay, accused the Bureau of typical discrimination against successful rural businesses.
Celebrity news.
The Los Santos Superior Court has awarded damages to actor Gordon Henderson, who recently sued when Vinewood Star Tours bus company dropped him from their route. The court said that aging and irrelevant Vinewood stars depend on the interest from fans in order to survive, and that actors have been known to commit suicide when not the center of attention at all times. The Star Tours bus company has promised to appeal.
Several groups are petitioning the city and law enforcement to do something about bicycles.
They take up the road. I nearly get into a collision going around them, and they dress like sissies.
90% of the people that ride bikes are assholes, according to a study by the Bravado Independent Research Group. The city promised to look into the closing of bike lanes and indicated they won't be adopting any of the bike share programs that have plagued other metropolitan areas.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Breaking news.
Drug wars at the Alamo Sea continue to worsen.
Still no breakthrough in the Leonora Johnson case. Amateur sleuths continue their search.
A local policeman has turned artist, and some of his subjects are upset.
A series of explosions destroyed a trailer park in the Alamo Sea, leaving dozens dead in what appears were part of a deliberate attack. Stab City, as the area was unfortunately called by locals, was a local biker gang hangout.
Missing persons.
Following the news that a confession letter was destroyed by movie mogul David Richards, crime obsessives and amateur detectives are trying to discover who killed Leonora Johnson in a bloody and unsolved murder nearly 40 years ago. The starlet was hacked to death in a murder many believe was covered up. Now the long cold case is getting warm again.
Sergeant Tim Kenner takes his police work seriously, harassing minorities, shooting their dogs, and pulling over attractive women asking for dates. But his artwork is stirring up controversy. He snaps camera phone pictures of suspects he has roughed up and then paints them as large oil-on-canvas prints. The paintings sell for a pretty penny among more affluent conservatives who like to surround themselves with images of people getting the business end of justice.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
Still no leads in the Rockford Hills jewelry store robbery.
Fame or shame is back to put shame on entertainment.
MC Clip proclaims himself a genius.
Mirror Park hipsters are invading the Alamo Sea.
Investigating officers have uncovered a new lead into the daytime robbery at exclusive Rockford Hills jewelry store Vangelico. It is thought that the guns used in the raid on the store were the same carbine rifles stolen from the LSPD SWAT van earlier this week. We'll stay with the story.
Fame or Shame kicks off a new season that they are promising will be the biggest thing in TV this month. San Andreas auditions are being held at the Maze Bank Arena, and the national finals will be at the Vinewood Bowl. This season is once again hosted by Laszlo, despite viewer complaints about his behavior in last season's finale.
Celebrity News.
MC Clip announces, I've become a genius again.
I'm an influential genius, man. Smarter than Einstein. Shit, I could cure diseases if I were to get a microscope. But instead, I'm rhyming about hoes. And you love it.
Rap music's self-proclaimed new frontier, MC Clip, announced that his forthcoming album would help put rap music at the top of the global agenda. Combining a new sound and a new message, Clip spoke to reporters.
This time, it's genetically inevitable that I would prove something real important. Combining fashion, rap music, and product pimping. I'm gonna take humanity to new places.
He said that the album, The All-New Messiah, promises to save pop music.
You know me, I'm like the rapper guy would want to be if he could rhyme right.
Upscale Vinewood types and hipsters are turning into weekend warriors, invading the rural wasteland of the Alamo Sea in search of the soul of America. In most cases, they fail to find it and do drugs instead, which are reportedly readily available in bulk at knockdown prices. Local law enforcement expressed concern while sitting in the car and playing solitaire on a smartphone instead.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Breaking news.
Carnage as a rapper's photo shoot is overrun by gangsters fleeing a shootout.
Group Sachs armored car robbery connected to IAA.
Another hiker goes missing in the Chiliad Mountain State Wilderness. Police are befuddled.
And the most expensive salad in the world comes to a Los Santos high-end restaurant.
The recent upsurge in violence continues. An MC Clip photo shoot in the Los Santos River turned nasty after 3 gangbangers disrupted proceedings and shot the place up. Police are searching for 3 gang members on speedophiles.
Missing persons.
Another hiker has disappeared without a trace, according to police. The unnamed 22-year-old man was walking alone from Polito Cove to Raton Canyon. They left home last Sunday and haven't been heard or seen since. Police don't have any leads, so are asking for increased pension benefits.
This salad cost $10,000, and it was worth every penny.
That's what one well-heeled diner said after finishing the most expensive salad in the city. A gourmet entree invented by celebrity chef Michael Lee Roon, who recently shot to fame on several celebrity cooking shows. He claims to toil for hours over each salad, using locally sourced wild mosses and organically unsustainable fish flown an obscene distance.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. This is Weazel News.
Sleepy town of Polito Bay wakes up to violent bank robbery.
2 hospital groups accused of rounding up homeless men to defraud the government.
The sport Americans don't understand is getting commercials.
Blaine County Savings Bank in quiet Polito Bay was robbed by 3 men who escaped in suits made of body armor. The bank robbers engaged in a rolling gun battle with police through the quiet town's main street, and it is believed that a 4th accomplice aided their escape. This is the 2nd time Polito Bay has been in the news of late after recent allegations of corruption in its police force.
Hospital and healthcare companies have been fighting valiantly against universal healthcare, arguing it will decrease profits and lead to European-style happiness and socialism. 2 hospital groups, including Mount Zona, have been charged with rounding up homeless men and providing health care whether they needed it or not, then billing taxpayers a fortune. Experts say this kind of fraud will end if we stop all socialized medicine and return to a system that truly works. Pay up or die.
Sports news.
Nobody in their right mind watches soccer.
You watch half the game with no commercials. I mean, that's really un-American. Sell me some bullshit.
Experts say Americans are used to sports stopping every 60 seconds for a commercial break. In order to appear to American tastes, soccer team, the LS Benders, have changed the rules to stop the game for breaks and no longer allow ties, which experts say are for sissies.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. This is Weazel News.
Gold prices spike as U.S. reserves take another hit.
Pictures of the inside of your house are now online thanks to iFind Street Maps.
And America, she is doomed, say fleeing immigrants. The supposedly unrobbable Union Depository was robbed not once, but twice, with as much as 4 tons of gold believed to have been stolen. 2 gunmen walked into the main bank demanding gold, drawing teams of police into a standoff. Meanwhile, another group of robbers drilled through the vault wall. By the time the security teams had been diverted from the standoff, the criminals had airlifted the gold out of the city. The scale of the robbery led to a spike in the price of gold.
Illegal immigrant news.
In news that will please conservatives, many illegal immigrants say they are warning family back home to stay where they are. Life is now so tough in America, there's absolutely no reason to risk death coming here. One racist idiot was pleased by the news.
We had to ruin this country to make the illegals leave, but it was worth it.
You might be surprised to find out that pictures of every room in your home are now online thanks to the iFind Street Maps project. CEO Trip Hammer says teams were sent from street to street using sophisticated cameras to take pictures of the inside of people's homes. In cases where images could not be obtained, iFind teams would enter the homes when residents weren't around in order not to inconvenience them.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
Group Sachs armored car robbery connected to IAA.
A drone base may be coming to the area. Liberals are outraged.
Frank Mathers has drowned off the coast.
A Vespucci beach man is claiming he's the victim of discrimination.
In a rare public statement, IAA spokesperson Lucinda Jacob confirmed a connection between her agency and the robbery of a Group Sachs armored car in Cypress Flats. She told us she could confirm the car was carrying high-value government bonds, but was unable to tell how much, where they were going, or any success in solving the crime.
Idiotic liberals news.
The United States military admitted they are considering the construction of a new drone base just north of Chumash and Fort Zancudo. Citizens expressed outrage.
I'm expressing outrage! See? I'm holding a sign!
Many say that the drone program erodes our civil liberties. They'd much rather send hillbillies to their death overseas than be protected cheaply by a robot. Others say, sleep tight, America. Tune into some reality TV and ignore everything going on around you. Babylon is burning, they shriek, and then take a huge hit on a spliff and proceed to do nothing about it.
TV producer, self-publicist, and environmentalist Frank Mathers has drowned in a submarine accident. Mr. Mathers, who was obsessed by undersea exploration, was testing a new submarine in the ocean near Paleto Bay when the submarine sank and is believed to have broken apart. Mr. Mathers claimed to have great affinity with the ocean. He is survived by his wife, Abigail.
Travel to Vespucci Beach and everyone has a tattoo and multiple holes in their extremities. Resident Tim Shepard filed a lawsuit against the city, saying he was told to leave for not having ink.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. This is Weazel News.
Empty head and a great rack. Panic Girl cheerleader tryouts begin today.
And why a local nudist will no longer be serving empanadas.
Sports news.
They are the best part of sporting events. Hot girls bouncing up and down, reminding us of our failures in life while we look on and numb ourselves with another overpriced beer. Cheerleader tryouts for the Los Santos Panic began today, and Teresa Smith says she can't wait to be a Panic Girl.
Oh my God, I've always wanted to shoot t-shirts at men. I have real aggression issues after my dad abandoned me and my mom.
She said it's always been her goal to cheer on moody basketball millionaires in tight clothes.
Food trucks are all the rage for people that enjoy cuisine made in a tiny bus. But one favorite hipster nudist food truck was shut down by health inspectors today. A local resident says he's glad.
Who cooks in the nude? I certainly don't after getting third-degree burns on my penis.
This was Weazel News. Weazel News.
A major automotive deal falls apart after a brutal murder.
$150 million house? While you're a failure, some locals are living the high life.
In the latest of a string of shocking terrorist hits on prominent businessmen in Los Santos, venture capitalist pioneer Isaac Penny has been murdered by an assassin masquerading as a bus driver. As a result, the leveraged buyout deal of Vapid Motor Company has collapsed.
Imagine a home with a dozen bathrooms, a bowling alley, chocolate fountain, and a shark tank you can throw unruly strippers in for your delight. These kinds of luxury properties are being sold by an elite real estate group called Windsor Real Estate. In a town of wanton excess and greed, it's your home that defines who you are, they say, and making millions of dollars in commissions for listing a property on a website is the reality of the world today.
This was Weazel News. This is Weazel News.
Construction has begun on the Canada to Los Santos pipeline.
New development in the I Find streetcar scandal.
Canada has three things: really strong weed, boring ice sports, and pristine drinking water. Los Santos city officials have announced that the San Andreas aquifer is nearly dry and mostly polluted. So construction has begun on a pipeline that will bring Canadian lake water to thirsty residents here. A city official said, quote, "Draining pristine wetlands has been brilliant for the environment here. So local governments in Canada who sold us water rights have a great future to look forward to."
Tech News.
The I Find streetcar scandal continues to worsen, with reports that alongside massive data theft, they have been instructing drivers to prioritize the download of sexy home photos and videos so they can monetize them online with paid advertising without the user's consent. The mood at I Find's corporate headquarters today was said to be pretty much the same as always. A bunch of nerds in shorts and flip-flops riding unicycles around and playing ping pong.
This was Weazel News. This is Weazel News.
ProLapse signs a new endorsement deal with a murdering athlete.
CNT and Weazel TV networks have record ratings.
Sports News.
Football superstar Steve Michaels may have murdered his girlfriend and drowned their dog. But the shoe and exercise clothing juggernaut ProLapse can't get enough of him.
It's not about the bad things he did in the past. He runs good with a football. So we want our logo all over it.
Fans have largely overlooked his crimes because a football championship is all that matters.
TV ratings for the past quarter were released today, with coverage of police chases receiving high praise from advertisers as a fantastic way to reach viewers. Some advertisers decided to stop running commercials during the police chases due to recent allegations that the chases are staged. However, most advertisers say the ratings speak for themselves. America loves a police chase, especially when you get to see a dude shot on live TV.
This was Weazel News. Breaking news.
An extreme sports enthusiast found dead in Vinewood Hills.
FIB says drug smugglers getting more ingenious.
Dom Beasley, a hedge fund whiz kid and extreme sports fanatic, has been found dead at the bottom of the Land Act Dam in what police are calling an idiotic attempt to defy gravity that could only ever have ended one way.
Drug smuggling news.
Submarines and tunnels are passé. Now the FIB tells us drugs are flooding the country inside animals. At a press conference yesterday to remind everyone that the war on drugs is still going on, several agents spoke to reporters.
They smuggle drugs and anything they can. Had a trained dolphin that carried coke in his ass.
Another agent said he frequently gave cavity searches to anyone and anything he could. He believes stop and search should be expanded horizontally and vertically.
Weazel News. Confirming your prejudices. Breaking news.
Carnage as MC Clip is killed in a gang shootout.
Group sacks armored car robbery connected to IAA.
Another hiker goes missing in the Chiliad Mountain State Wilderness. Police are befuddled.
And the most expensive salad in the world comes to a Los Santos high-end restaurant.
The outbreak of violence continues. An MC Clip photo shoot in the Los Santos River turned into tragedy as a shootout between rival gangs overran it. MC Clip, real name Curtis Cray, turned his back on the gangster life 3 years ago to embrace narcissistic consumption. Unfortunately, it was too late. Mr. Clip is dead.
I'm here talking to a distraught MC Clip fan.
It's so sad to see a mouthy egomaniac die like that.
Back to you in the studio.
Missing persons.
Another hiker has disappeared without a trace, according to police. The unnamed 22-year-old man was walking alone from Polito Cove to Raton Canyon. They left home last Sunday and haven't been heard or seen since. Police don't have any leads, so are asking for increased pension benefits.
This salad cost $10,000, and it was worth every penny.
That's what one well-heeled diner said after finishing the most expensive salad in the city. A gourmet entree invented by celebrity chef Michael Lee Roon, who recently shot to fame on several celebrity cooking shows. He claims to toil for hours over each salad using locally sourced wild mosses and organically unsustainable fish flown an obscene distance.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. This is Weazel News.
Poppy Mitchell continues to spiral out of control.
An American original is getting scooped up by the Chinese.
The Poppy Mitchell meltdown continues. Police arrested her for drunk driving after a high-speed chase in Vinewood. The starlet is still claiming that the alleged recent sex tape of her is entirely innocent.
I was doing yoga. Just ask Justin. They can make anything look like sex from the right angle.
Transition whoosh.
It's American as apple pie and painkillers, but lager beer is being sold to the Chinese. The classic American beer, known for its tasteless, watery flavor, was advertised as being made by real American rednecks for American rednecks. It was purchased by Maha Ling Beverage of Shanghai for $4.2 billion.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Breaking news.
A mass suicide at a cult camp.
And how turgid is too turgid.
Cult news.
The altruists were a terrifying cult of isolated baby boomers who lived in the hills. Now it seems most are dead after a mass suicide or ritualistic shooting that police are investigating. Marcela Gonzalez is on the scene.
It's carnage here in the woods. The group seem to have annihilated themselves, with many crowded around an area used for what appears to be ritual sacrifices. All seem to have been late middle-aged people who expressed dissatisfaction with modern life. They love guns and swinging, along with a ghoulish predilection for human flesh. Back to you, Steve.
We will stay with this story unless we're told not to.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
Are you ready for some artisanal cocaine?
Swedish rapper Stockholm Syndrome says he understands about struggle.
Los Santos Medical Marijuana University is gearing up to teach residents how to make artisanal cocaine if Proposition 208 passes. The university will instruct students how to make cocaine in a range of flavors, including pineapple, coconut, menthol, and for those cocaine aficionados that miss the taste of authentic cocaine from the smuggling heyday, Guatemalan butthole flavor.
Hip-hop news.
The gritty Euro rapper known as Stockholm Syndrome has flown into Vinewood on a wave of record label publicity, hoping he will breathe life into the dying gangster rap genre. The only problem, Syndrome comes from the country with the highest standard of living on Earth. His tales of state medicine, elk hunting, conflict resolution, and snowshoeing are very powerful. But will they resonate with American audiences? Only time will tell.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Breaking news.
A gang shootout in Puerto del Sol.
Excitement is building for Life Invaders' new product launch.
A breakthrough in the notorious Leonora Johnson case.
The Sonora Desert, a hotbed for illegal arms trafficking from south of the border.
Is the paparazzi going out of business? Some hope so.
A quiet cul-de-sac erupted in gang violence as a bloody massacre left several Vagos gang members dead. A trail of devastation and no clear idea what happened or why. Police don't know if this means drug wars between Hispanic gangs have reignited or if this was simply a deal or an altercation gone terribly wrong.
The smuggling of weapons from the U.S. into Mexico has transformed the Sonora Desert region into a war zone in recent months, with rival traffickers including Mexican Mexican gang Varios Los Aztecas and El Salvadoran gang the Marabunta Grande clashing over supply routes.
The launch of Life Invader's top-secret but heavily marketed new hardware is just days away now, and the hype is at a fever pitch as social networking fanatics prove once again that there are no limits to what people are prepared to sacrifice in exchange for the illusion of relevance and popularity. Life Invader's CEO Jay Norris will unveil the product himself on live television.
Since 1975, the brutal murder and dismemberment of starlet Leonora Johnson has remained unsolved and captivated conspiracy theorists. Now, there may be a breakthrough. Ira Richards, vice president of marketing at Richards Majestic and grandson of movie mogul David Richards, told a reporter that his grandfather claimed to have destroyed a confession letter in the weeks before his death. Mr. Richards Sr. passed away last year at the age of 103. His son, Solomon Richards, has run the family studio since 1978 and told reporters he knew nothing beyond the fact his son was a moron and his father was delusional.
Idiotic news.
The number one industry in Los Santos after plastic surgery and therapy is crying foul. The local paparazzi union says that high-resolution camera phones are putting them out of business. Street photographer, union rep Tyler Hughes.
Any jerk with a camera phone can make money invading the privacy of celebrities. It's really hurting our hard-working paparazzi who pride themselves on harassing celebrities to the brink of death.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
Quiet town in North Yankton erupts in bloodshed.
Can you whip up a souffle using only ingredients from dumpsters? Freegans are at it again.
A policeman fired for his Life Invader page. Several Chinese gangsters are dead, a grave was desecrated, and a town is scared and confused after a shootout at a cemetery in Ludendorff in North Yankton. Steve Patoria at the scene.
Thanks, Sheila. The dead are mostly Chinese gangsters with links to a Chinese gang called the Wei Chang Triad. The grave that has been desecrated was the nearly final resting place of a Michael Townley, a bank robber himself killed in the last major shootout in the area 9 years ago. What caused his grave to be desecrated and the links between the two crimes remain a mystery. This is Steve Pretoria for Weazel News in Ludendorff.
A homeless man in Vespucci Beach says that Freegans are the scourge of the community. These middle-class eco-warriors reclaim thrown-out food. Freegans say we live in a wasteful society, and they are recycling food that would otherwise go to waste. The homeless in Vespucci promise to organize a protest.
These hipsters dumpster dive because they think it's cool, making a quiche out of spoiled ingredients. They're robbing the homeless.
Loser News.
A policeman in Liberty City was arrested yesterday for taking pictures of victims at crime scenes and posting them on his Life Invader page. Officer Daryl Bent initially claimed his page had been hacked. Then he admitted he didn't even know what that meant. Then he said this to reporters.
Dead chicks are really hot, mostly because they aren't running their mouth.
Mr. Bent has been suspended.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
Helicopter crash shootout and data theft at FIB HQ. And begging for money is looked down upon unless you do it on the internet. Crowdsourcing, the new fancy term for being a bum. A team of criminals broke into the FIB's West Coast headquarters in downtown Los Santos earlier. Witnesses say they saw men parachuting in from a helicopter. The FIB claims to have shot down their helicopter. The aircraft crashed into the building, decimating several floors. The criminals were able to escape the building, and a task force headed by Special Agent Steve Haynes has been set up to bring them to justice.
We interrupt for this breaking news.
Officials announced a deal has been made to bring the Liberty City Wrath to Los Santos, pending final legal approval. City official Mark Richards announced the news today.
This East Coast versus West Coast battle continues, and today we won another victory. We're taking Liberty City's football team. It took $1 billion in taxpayer giveaways, but football is as American as gentrification and fried food.
Sit on the sidewalk and beg for money, and you're a leech on society. Do it on crowdsourcing website Beseecher, and you're an innovator. One local man is raising funds on the site to start what everyone considers a terrible business. But Scott Yothers is determined to guilt trip everyone he knows into handing over money.
I have a lot of people who donated $10, $15, even $100 to my terrible idea.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
City in panic. Massive shootout involving IAA, FIB, Merryweather, and unknown terror elements.
And female bodybuilders are bringing confusing emotions to a local man.
The War on Terror.
We lead with the horror show at the Court Center, where a terror incident was foiled by a combination of forces from the FIB and the IAA. Some witnesses even believe Merryweather Security Services may have helped calm things down. Scott McSimmons is at the scene.
Yes, it's carnage here, and also not a little confusing. No one is quite sure what happened, but thanks to their utter professionalism, our security forces were able to have people at the scene of the crime almost as soon as it began. An attempt to arrest a terror suspect seems to have gotten into a gun battle. No one is quite sure what comes next for a city in panic. Back to you, Sheila.
Very worrying.
Local resident Anthony King told reporters yesterday that the trend of female bodybuilders working out in Vespucci Beach is bringing strange feelings to the surface. He said they excite and revolt him with equal measure, as he thought his strange feelings for women with pronounced muscles had been buried for good in his teenage years.
That was Weazel News. Weazel News.
Terror at the airport.
Men love it. Monkeys do it. And masturbating has now won fame or shame.
I find 3D street maps include upskirt shots with paid advertising.
The War on Terror.
A frightening scene at Los Santos International. Reports say there are multiple casualties and millions of dollars of damage. Terrified travelers fled for their lives as a high-speed chase across the runway involving police and unknown assailants left a trail of destruction in its path. This traveler was sympathetic.
I don't care who died. My flight's delayed now.
Ratings were improved for the recent season finale of Fame or Shame and the stunning upset by three of our closest cousins who spanked it into the history books. Despite a last-minute attempt by Tracy DeSanta to sing her way to the title with a great performance Freudians loved, the Monkeys wanked their way into America's heart as they had done all season.
Technology news.
iFind is literally going for the money shot with a new feature that takes upskirt photos, puts them online, and sells advertising. Residents were mixed on the new service.
I'm glad my wife's private parts are generating money for iFind. It's nice I can log on and see her secret places anytime.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Breaking news.
A movie debut has people buzzing, possibly for all the wrong reasons. Meltdown hits theaters.
A woman on her front lawn dead for days before anyone noticed.
And in business news, another terrible idea funded on Beseecher.
Movie news.
Solomon Richards' new movie Meltdown is now in theaters, and audiences are divided. Some have described it as derivative Vinewood pap, but others quite enjoyed it.
I really liked the film, and the end was heartwarming. The dubbing on the talking monkey felt a little 1980s, though.
82-year-old Ethel Winthrop loved to sunbathe in a bikini, drink mint juleps, and wave at cars. So when she was on the lawn for several days, nobody thought anything of it, except she had passed away. Services will be held tomorrow.
Entrepreneur Scott Yothers says he has enough money to start the business called Cheeses, where he sculpts deities out of different cheeses and sells them to weddings and bar mitzvahs.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. This is Weazel News.
Gold prices spike as U.S. reserves take another hit.
Pictures of the inside of your house are now online thanks to iFind Street Maps.
And America, she is doomed, say fleeing immigrants. Up to 4 tons of gold have disappeared from the supposedly unrobbable Union Depository earlier in a dramatic raid. Having hacked into the computer system to clear an unusually large shipment of gold for transfer, the criminals hijacked an armored car and convinced the bank workers to give them the precious metal willingly. The robbers were engaged by both security forces and a Merryweather security team, but escaped. The scale of the robbery led to a spike in gold prices.
Illegal immigrant news. News.
In news that will please conservatives, many illegal immigrants say they are warning family back home to stay where they are. Life is now so tough in America, there's absolutely no reason to risk death coming here. One racist idiot was pleased by the news.
We had to ruin this country to make the illegals leave, but it was worth it.
You might be surprised to find out that pictures of every room in your home are now online thanks to the I Find Street Maps project. CEO Trip Hammer says teams were sent from street to street using sophisticated cameras to take pictures of the inside of people's homes. In cases where images could not be obtained, I Find teams would enter the homes when residents weren't around in order not to inconvenience them.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. This is Weazel News.
A local man is rethinking his stance on mouthing off to police.
Jack Howitzer's reality TV show has groups up in arms.
Terrence Andrews is rethinking his position on interacting with law enforcement after police shot him in the gut yesterday. He spoke with reporters from his hospital bed.
While the life was leaking out of me, I thought maybe I shouldn't mouth off and throw things at the police. I learned a valuable lesson.
Andrews says he will most likely steer clear of shouting obscenities at police in the future.
Movie news.
80s action hero Jack Howitzer was jailed after shooting a radio host in the early 90s. But now he's back and on television. His show, Jack Howitzer is Jack Howitzer in Jack Howitzer, chronicles his quest to get his movie career back on track. But parents groups are upset at the content.
I can't believe the things he does with that sock. It's disgusting.
The woman also went on to say that it has sexual and racist...
This is Weazel News.
Naughty's Bar to open in Liberty City.
And a street artist has been told to go F himself.
Idiotic news.
The world's first Naughty's Bar opened in Star Junction yesterday. No, not naughty, Naughty's. Celebrating the 2000s, a decade without any flavor or style whatsoever. Now represented by a generic theme bar serving plastic food. Carl Kelly is in Liberty City.
It's great here, just like 4 years ago. Hey, you sir, you having a good time?
2000 to 2010 was a shitty decade. I like this decade better. I have a smartphone now, and I'm out of jail.
This was Weazel News. This is Weazel News.
The cold abyss of the internet just got warmer with a marriage proposal.
And why fatties are flocking to a new fitness craze.
Tech News.
Hamish Thompson met Shelley Sanders on an internet dating site last Tuesday. The couple went out twice more that week, and he proposed via Bleeter on the weekend. She accepted his proposal by sending a direct message on Life Invader. Their friends, who are mostly strangers they only know online, say that the marriage is expected to be as cold, joyless, and soulless as the internet.
Losing weight finally got fun with a new craze hitting town. Zen salsa swinging. The mix of meditation, ballroom dancing, and cuckold sessions has made this man lose 20 pounds.
Hey, it's a great form of exercise seeing your wife being double-teamed by two guys. It really gets the heart rate up.
Classes are open to couples and single women. No previous experience necessary.
Weazel News. This is Weazel News.
Experts say meditation may make you crave the wrong sex.
And fake, screams the internet at a popular viral video.
Tech News.
It's been viewed 160 million times on the internet. An adorable video of kittens crawling into a sack of Up and Atom, pulling out the burger and fries and rollicking and frolicking as one cute kitten figures out how to drink a jumbo shake. But in a still unfolding scandal, it has been revealed that the video was staged by Up and Atom's advertising agency and that the kittens were put in a pillowcase and thrown in a river afterwards. Many residents say they don't care, and the video is adorable.
This was Weazel News. This is Weazel News.
The mile-high masturbator has passengers suing an airline.
And my joyless marriage continues.
idiotic news.
Nathaniel Wilkins has a little-known medical condition that causes him to pleasure himself whenever he hears the flight attendant call button on an airplane. Despite his disability, some recent passengers on Fly U.S. Flight 435 are suing the airline, saying that they are forever traumatized by his behavior.
This Weazel News Break brought to you by Pisswasser.
This was Weazel News. This is Weazel News.
Liberals are fuming at the cartoon Impotent Rage.
And a local man claims spinach gave him herpes.
Liberals are morons.
Liberal groups, in a surprising turn of events, are asking network execs to pull the show Impotent Rage, saying it demeans liberals and is hurtful.
Grocery stores are pulling spinach from the shelves after a local man told the news media that he contracted herpes simplex from the tainted vegetable.
My wife can't believe it either, but I told her, baby, I travel to Thailand a lot and they don't wash their food so well over there.
Nobody else has reported contracting the disease, but officials have encouraged stores to recall spinach anyway.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. This is Weazel News.
Filming of Deep Inside disrupted by audacious car theft.
A source says baseball legend Carl Wilkins used performance-enhancing drugs.
The stock market plunges deep into painful territory, and illegal immigrants begin to wonder if America is a third world country. A multi-million-dollar car rigged with special effects was stolen from the Richards Majestic lot in a daring and violent heist. Initial reports suggest some injuries and possible casualties. We'll stay on this story.
Sports news.
The grueling stress of being a professional athlete takes its toll in a culture where being number one is everything, and those that are number two should be put down. One anonymous source is saying that Corker's baseball legend Carl Wilkins frequently used performance-enhancing drugs before abusing groupies or visiting brothels. Critics responded in shock, saying that America's sports heroes shouldn't have to use drugs to maintain a strong, turgid erection and give that girl what she's got coming to her.
The Boss Act headed into negative territory again, expressing volatility as traders reacted to data released that consumer confidence was down and that people were worried that buying all this bullshit wasn't going to make them happy after all. In related news, Border Patrol agents say that illegal immigrants are returning south in droves. The dream is dead, they say.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. This is Weazel News.
A princess in a drug scandal.
Another tragic car accident has local residents saying that something has to be done about the local wildlife.
Wayward young British royal Princess Georgina has been filmed buying drugs. We went to the street in search of some intelligent response to this scandal, but all we could find was this man.
British people are all drug addicts. That's why their teeth are so bad. They invented meth in 1762.
Rural news.
Nature has gone too far, says Gretchen Henderson. The suburbs and outskirts of Los Santos are undergoing what some say is an apocalyptic plague. Invasive species harass residents of gated communities who move to the wilderness in order to live a stress-free life away from deer. Local governments are discussing a massive poisoning initiative in order to reset the balance.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
More trouble for Merriweather?
Bull shark testosterone sales skyrocket in Los Santos.
Does cosplay equal creepy? Parents groups are worried about Princess Robot bubblegum for boys.
Merriweather's high-value cross-country courier service has been suspended indefinitely after one of their trains was hijacked in Blaine County's Raton Canyon. This is the latest in a long line of problems for the security firm since they were cleared for U.S. operations.
Sound effect.
Testosterone replacement has proved very popular in the last few years as vain men worry about declining virility, man boobs, and all the rest. Now, one entrepreneur, Brucey Kibbutz, is cashing in with his all-natural bull shark testosterone, harvested from real bullshit. This high-grade testosterone is now widely available in all health stores. Increased rates of violence, narcissism, and ball shrinkage show just how popular it has become. We spoke to one fan.
This bull shark testosterone is great. I really pound my ex-wife with extra anger now.
One area couple says enough is enough.
He dresses up like a Japanese anime character.
It's not right for a grown boy to dress like a schoolgirl.
Parents are worried by the cosplay epidemic sweeping through schools and colleges. The cartoon princess Robot Bubblegum has legions of fans who dress like their favorite characters and then participate in erotic play. Her Japanese schoolgirl uniform playfully fluttering in the wind as she giggles, drawing you near.
Carl, hello?
Sorry. Parent groups and other busybodies are petitioning the TV network to no longer air the cartoon.
Weazel News, confirming your prejudices. Weazel News.
The State Department says leak about leak is a lie.
An attack on the set of Fame or Shame has its host fleeing the scene.
Is Los Santos close to getting a football team and becoming a real city?
Venture capitalists to buy out struggling Vapid Motor Company.
State Department officials were scrambling yesterday to deny the veracity of a leaked report about nuclear waste spillages across our ocean floors. Sheila Hall is live.
I'm at the scene. Let's hear what State Department spokesman Jim Donovan had to say.
These are the kind of malicious lies and rumors that stop people from respecting their government. They are typical of the internet, which is why we are thinking of shutting it down. I mean, does anyone think it's credible that the government would lie to them about something serious? Of course nuclear power is safe, nearly as safe as oil, which is why these are the fuels we